The Hullcracker nerf. I've seen so many comments all across social media and so many people hating on this. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad of a nerf. I think it's okay. You can't 3 or 4 shot a leaper or a bastion. I think it's okay that you need multiple shots and that you still have to learn to kite the enemy around a little bit. I think everything that is too easy is just boring and not rewarding. So I think it was good. The Hullcracker was very strong. I don't know if it needed this big of a nerf, maybe a little bit less, but I do think it's nothing to really, go online and complain about. Plus, because this is nerfed, the value of the Equalizer and the Jupiter also goes up and makes it more of a valuable item because those are now super, super strong and valuable against other arcs. Before that, I didn't really care about my legendary guns because every time I planned going up against a big arc, I just took the Hullcracker because it was so strong. Let's check out some comments and see what people think about this. Hullcracker still smacks reliably. Security lockers are still very valuable. Venator slaps. Nerfs have been minor and precise. I'm here for it. 100%. I agree. That's instantly a like. I couldn't agree more. I even think, and this is a hot topic, I guess, security lockers could be nerfed again. I'm sorry to say, and a lot of people will hate me for this, but it is still too strong. You can go into a free loadout, do 2 or 3 lockers. They're always in the same spawn. It's super consistent and reliable, and you can always get out with at least green guns, sometimes even blue, and sometimes even purple or pink, whatever. So it's still too strong. You can go into a free lobby, right? A free loadout lobby with low gear score, where everyone else also has gray weapons, green weapons, or free loadout, and then run rampage across the map with those weapons you found in the security breach lockers. Basically just run over the entire lobby. It's still very, very strong. Also, money-wise, you can go in and get ammo, supplies, gun parts, utility, grenades. There's still so much value in them, and they're not that contested. There are enough security breach lockers out there to have a couple runs, like 2 or 3 raids, and you're fully set up again. I think they're in a fine spot, if not even a little bit too powerful. Venator could be nerfed a little bit more. It's basically now just Venator 3 and it's still very strong. I think, to change up the meta a little bit and make other guns more interesting, it still needs a little bit of a nerf. But it's a good start and I'm glad they didn't completely kill the gun and make it completely useless. They're slowly gathering data, slowly approaching some nerfs, seeing how it affects the gameplay and how it affects the gun itself, and then making more decisions over the next weeks, hopefully. Changes to AoE are fine, but the increased cost to ammo is a bit much in my opinion. I disagree. I think you don't really have any use for your money other than making more ammo or more items for the next raid. There's not really any other use. There's not a flea market or an auction house or anything where you can, use the money for something else. You can't really use the money for cosmetics or anything other than actually buying stuff, right? So I think it's totally fine that if you are in a pinch and you don't have the resources to craft the ammo, you just have to buy it and it's expensive. You can just get that money again by some free loadout farm runs. It's not that big of a deal in my opinion. Now this comment is actually also quite interesting and not that wrong, considering that you can take down a Rocketeer with just an anvil 2 or 3 if you have good position and just kite it around and always shoot the same thruster. It's kind of true. Does it mean the Hullcracker is wrong, or does it mean that the Pharaoh and the Anvil are a little bit too strong? Plus, it's also a good point to mention that Hullcrackers only damage arcs and not players, whereas the Anvil and the Pharaoh do both. So where's the balancing issue here? I'm not entirely sure. I think this is a really good point that I hadn't thought about yet. I think overall, in isolation, I think the Hullcracker nerf is fine, but comparing it to the Anvil and the Pharaoh, it might be a little bit too weak now. What do you guys think about this? Need to make free loadouts an entirely different server. Bringing a topside is risky for the rat problem. Okay, this sentence has so many different topics to talk about and complex issues. I'm just going to dive into the free loadout topic real quick. In my opinion, free loadouts are really important and crucial for the game's health so that people don't get too frustrated if they lose a very expensive and big loadout that they went in with. But it's a little bit too powerful right now because Pharaoh 1 or Stitcher 1 or Kettle, they're all not that bad, which is okay. But it feels like you can do too much with the free loadout and too often. And then if you have a spawn that is right behind someone, that is fully kitted out, but not aware that you spawned right behind them, especially on Stellamontis, it's crazy. Then you can take them down with the Kettle 1 and take their entire stash just with a free loadout, which by itself is not bad. And I'll get into this topic in another video. It just means that there is no power creep because people that play more have more time or, more resources to play. They won't be too much ahead of the people that are more casual players because even your biggest loadout and your most valuable weapon and the strongest weapon in the game can be defeated by a Kettle 1 that is playing it smart or third partying. So that is a whole topic for another time. But what I'm trying to say, free loadouts should be maybe limited a little bit. So let's say in a 24-hour time frame, you can only use 5 free loadouts or 10 or whatever. Don't get hung up on the number that I just mentioned. That's something that the devs could talk about or try to test. But I think that would make it more interesting because then you still have the option of free loadouts, but you don't just fully abuse it all the time. And then sometimes you have to, risk some of your gear because you're done with your 5 free loadouts of the day. And then there are some other comments saying it wasn't necessary to nerf the gun. It's the only PvE gun. What's wrong with killing a Rocketeer fast? You worked your way towards this Hullcracker. You put a lot of resources into it, and you should be able to take it down quickly for either trial points or for the loot. And, it's a fair point that if you shoot an arc, a bigger arc, people will notice, right? People across the map will hear it, see it. And then there's a lot of people that will notice and try to take your loot and try to PvP and, maybe shoot you in the back while you're looting. So that is a fair point. Why make it even more difficult? But I do think, and this is another comment right here, which I kind of agree with, maybe not in these kind of words, but it's a little bit baffling to me that people want everything free and easy and as handheld as possible in games without realizing that that takes away from the long-term reward and long-term fun of a game. Like, we're all playing games to either escape reality or have some fun. And if everything comes super easy, none of it actually feels fun. It might feel fun for a day, if you get every single loot for free and you took down the 15th Rocketeer with 2 Hullcracker shots. But then what? Eventually it'll become stale and the devs won't be able to keep up with content because everything is just so easy and quickly done. So there are 2 sides to this whole thing. I'm not entirely sure where I stand on it yet. I would lean more towards the nerf is okay, but I can see how people, especially more casual gamers that don't have that much time, are frustrated by having to buy, this item for a lot of resources, for a lot of money, with the ammo included, and then they might get ratted and instantly die in the first seconds of a raid, or they have to shoot double the ammo comparatively before the nerf to take down one of the big arcs, which is a big risk with other players around. I, in the end, agree with what this commenter is saying. Nerfs are okay, not really a game-breaking change, maybe a minor inconvenience and a little bit harder to acquire the ammo and the Hullcracker now, and it takes a little longer to take down the arcs. Now this comment, we're just gonna leave it here. Although Hairpin is kind of underrated, it's a fun gun. Finally, also one more important comment right here. Works just fine. Hit the weak spots. I think that's also really important. People just blast the Bastion from the front or, try to hit the Rocketeer in the face and then complain they can't take it down in 2 shots. Maybe get a bit more creative. Use a showstopper or a jolt mine or a blaze grenade on one of these big arcs so they slow down and then try to actually hit the weak spots to make maximum damage with the Hullcracker. And if you do that, it'll still drop fairly easy and fairly fast. This again goes to the topic of everyone wants everything super fast and easy, and I think this is such a good comment because get more creative, adapt, learn. Instead of just complaining, oh, now my Hullcracker has gone a little weaker, see if you can find some other ways or some other, utility items to help you out taking down that arc without just abusing the Hullcracker. All in all, finishing the topic on the Hullcracker, I get what people are saying, and as the only full PvE weapon, maybe it feels a little bit weak now, and the Pharaoh and the Anvil a little bit too strong, but I think it's nothing to fully complain and crash out about. Not that big of a deal. You can still take down big arcs fairly easily and quickly if you play it well, and there are so many other options to also explore. Last post for this video, people don't realize how lucky they have it playing on NA servers. Been playing them lately, straight vibing, it's a different game. Is that true? I haven't played in an A yet. I am from EU. I don't know what everyone's saying. And yeah, sure, if you log into Stella Montes, there's going to be a lot of mayhem and free loadouts just instantly shooting and third partying, and that's a complete mess. But overall, I still have so many friendly encounters. If I just go on a normal map, maybe not, trying to take down the matriarch because there will be people trying to take your loot and third party you. But in general, I would say out of 10 raids, I have at least 8 very nice encounters and 8 friendly chill raids. So guys, if you are in an A or if you are in EU, tell me your experience. Let me know how it feels for you. And especially if you've played on both servers, let me know if there is a noticeable difference. Beautiful without the rats. It's such a difficult topic. I have a video about this already, but I just want to spark a conversation or discussion, constructive discussion, hopefully. This is a cool moment. Now fast forward one more week and you've done this another 5-6 times without anyone intervening. What's the exciting part then? Like, this is cinematic, it's cool, maybe you even grouped up with other people and you got the loot the first time, you have the Aphelion now, you maybe played with the Aphelion 10 times now already because you have all these cores for free. What then? So unless the devs keep bringing out a new big arc or new PvE challenge every single week, or at least like 2 weeks, at the very least every month, What is there to do? Like, what's going to be the next cinematic, memorable moment in this game? There's only the matriarch and the queen right now. Everything else is fairly easy to take down. So what's the challenge? For me, yes, ratty behavior sucks. I can only stress this more than enough. I don't enjoy that gameplay at all myself, and I sometimes think, why do people enjoy it so much, backstabbing or, you know, camping? But that's okay. That's their gameplay, and that's how they want to enjoy the game. That's fine. It's not mine, but it's theirs. What I don't understand is, if there is no other threat in this game, in the current state of the game, I'm not saying there shouldn't or couldn't be a different PvE mode or story-driven mode, but in the current game, as it is right now, what's the challenge if there's not the threat of other people taking your loot or destroying your moment? What are you going to do then afterwards? So for anyone out there, what do you think about this post? Do you agree with this? Should there be absolutely no PvP and just friendly encounters and just PvE? And sorry, there's one more last thing that I really want to mention. Arc Raiders just won Best Sound of the Year in an award show somewhere because it 100% deserves it. And now I don't know if this is like a wishful post. I don't know if it's actually true and they won something. What I want to say is, they should definitely win some kind of award at some point because the sound is magnificent. The audio cues, the shooting, the explosions, the atmosphere, the songs, like the music, everything is absolutely on point. It just gives me like this feeling of tension and anxiety. The last couple of minutes, you know, when the orbiter hits, that explosion, when the music starts being this low tone and being like building up anxiety because you have to make it back to the last extraction. Everything is just amazing when it comes to audio and sound. So please, whoever decides all that stuff out there and, you know, Game of the Year award, whatever, next year, they deserve it. It is so rewarding. Even the flare going up and like, it's so clever. The sound, the shield breaking, everything sounds so good. The shredder, when it moves towards you with that sound, the buzzing sound coming towards you, and then the shrapnel exploding, it is so freaking cool and intense. I love it. That's it from me today, guys. I just absolutely love talking about this game and, you know, sharing my opinions. And I truly hope that Embark is on a successful trajectory and gives us more content in the future. So see you next time, guys, and happy looting.